Hi everyone, this is Terry at terryscraftroom.com. Today we're going to make this really adorable little graduation owl that holds Hershey Kisses. And it holds them pretty securely, and you don't have to glue the kisses in, but you do need to adhere and glue some stuff together with this owl. So let's get started. So what you need are 1-inch strips of cardstock. You need one that is 7.25 by 1. You need one that is 7.25 by 1. You need two that are 7 by 1. You need two that are 4.75 by 1. You need two that are 3.25 by 1. And then you need some various scraps, and then you need a square that is 1.75 by 1.75, an oval, and this is 5/8 by about 3.25 or so. Okay, so let's do some scoring. And I came up with these dimensions all on my own. I saw a picture of this on Pinterest. QB's, I believe, was the name of the person who had it, but I came up with the instructions all on my own. So on the 7.5-inch piece, we want to score at 2.75 and 3.25, and then at 4.5 and 5. And let's set that aside for a second. We're just going to do all our scoring at once. Okay, on the 7.25-inch piece, we are going to score every 1 1/8 inches. So 1 1/8, 2.25, 3 3/8, 4.5, 5 5/8, and 6 3/4. Okay, set that aside. Now on the two that are 7 inches long, we're going to score them at 1-inch intervals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on both pieces. Okay, set those aside. The two that are 4 3/4 inches long, we're going to score at 2 and 4.25 on both pieces. And don't worry if you miss any of these instructions, because you can go over to my blog at terryscraftroom.com, and I'll have a link directly below here, directly to the blog post, so that you can go straight to that, and I'll have written instructions including all the sizes of the cardstock and all the score marks, so that you can get your information there. So on the 3.25-inch pieces, you got two of those, you're going to score every 1/2 inch. So a 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 inches. Okay, so our scoring is done. Okay, so on the 4 3/4-inch pieces that we only scored at 2 and 4.25, here's our first score line, our 2-inch score line, and here's the 4.25-inch score line. So between these two, the longer of the two scores, we're going to just round that area, and it doesn't matter if you go over to the end. You want this small 2-inch piece straight. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to glue these together like this to make a wing. Now, this is where having some of these tweezers that close automatically works great, because it can sit there and hold it while you work on something else. Okay, so there's our two wings. Okay, and we'll let those set up while we work on the 7 1/4 inch piece, which we scored at every 1 1/8 inch. So we're going to just fold all our score lines, and we're going to adhere this into a hexagon, just like this. And this is the body of our owl. Okay, there we go. Now our two 7 inch pieces that we scored every 1 inch, you're going to fold, fold, then turn over, fold, fold, then turn over, fold, fold. So you're going to end up with this. You're going to do the same thing to both the other piece too. Fold, fold, turn over, fold, fold, turn over, fold, fold. So that you end up with this. Okay, so now we're going to take these and squish them together and put them inside our hexagon. And this is where our Hershey Kisses go. See that? Isn't that cool? Okay. So now our wings are adhered to each other enough, and I'm going to actually take the center piece out of that for now, and we're going to glue our wings to the side here. So I'm going to put some adhesive on one panel, and then I'm going to take my tweezers here and just get those setting. And then I have another set of tweezers here. We can do the other side at the same time. So what we need is you skip one and then you go to the other side. So your wing is hanging down, so this is the top of the wing. You skip this one and this is where you want to put the other wing. Like this, so that when you have them on, if I can hold on to it, obviously I can't, they're going like this. Okay, and that's probably adhered and good enough. So I'm skipping this one and I'm going to put adhesive on this panel, and then glue my other wing here and here. And don't worry if it's out of shape or if it's bending. Once we finish, it'll all be back in shape. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's set that aside for now, and now we're going to do the head and the eyes. So we want our two 3 1/4 inch pieces that we scored at every 1/2 inch, and you just want to fold all those pieces. These are the eyes. And what we're going to do, just to make sure that those two Hershey Kisses fit real snug, is I'm going to take about 1/16 of an inch off of one of the 1/2 inch end. So you have a little 1/4 inch end. Let's see if you can see this. You have a little 1/4 inch end here. Right, you see it there. There's a 1/4 inch end, and there's the 1/2 inch end. So I took about 1/16 of an inch off this side, and then we're going to glue it into a small hexagon. You don't want to take too much off, but just a hair, just so that they fit snugly. And again, fold all our score lines here on the other piece. And I'm going to take Here's my 1/4 inch end. Here's my 1/2 inch end, so I'm going to take just a hair off the 1/2 inch end. And really, that's all I took off. Okay, let's take these off of here. And there's our body all ready to put our head on. So let's finish the head. So what we're going to do is, my seam is here and my seam is here. I'm going to glue those two seams together just like this, and you're just going to glue just that corner together right there. Just like that. I only want that little bitty piece together right there. Okay, and what you can do is, if you have a Hershey Kiss, you can set it in there just to see if it fits snugly, and that one does. Let's try the other one, and that one does too. Okay. Oops. So let's give that a second to set up, and we'll go to this piece. This is the piece that we just scored. That's a 7.5 inch piece, and we scored at the 2 3/4 and 3 1/4, 4.5 and 5. And what you're going to do is, this is the first score line, so we're going to fold that down, and the second score line is a valley fold. And then the third score line is another valley fold, and the fourth score line is a mountain. So this is what we end up with. Okay? And if you bend them down like that, you can see that they're ears. So what we want to do to make the roundness of the owl's head is, from the top of the ear out, we're going to round it. Just like that. And now you start to see the shape of the head. Okay, and hopefully our eyes are starting to set up here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive right here on the top inside of each eye, and then I'm going to just glue the flat part in between the ears to the top of each eye. Okay. Now you don't want to go all the way down like this, because then you lose your ears. So we have to form our ears, and so I'm going to put glue right here, so that when I form my ear and hold it there, it's going to stay, that ear is going to stay in position. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to try and make the ears match each other. Okay, so we're going to let that set for a second. Okay, now while that sits, we need eyes. So I punched 2 3/4 inch circles out of I think this was Grapefruit Grove. And then I punched 2 1/2 inch circles out of black. And we're going to adhere the black onto the Grapefruit Grove. Okay. Now I have this white gel pen, and I'm just going to make a couple marks here onto the black. Just like that. Okay, and let's get our hat going. And we need to make a circle with this 5/8 inch piece, like so. let this sit for a second and while it adheres. And now we can go back to our head. So see, our head has adhered to itself. Now we need to just attach this bottom piece. And because of all the glue, there's kind of a little bit of going back and forth. But so when I made the bottom piece, pull this out of the way, I made it so that this has a little bit of space underneath the eyes. And this right here is where we're going to attach it to the body. But let's let that glue set up for a second, and we'll go back to our hat. Okay, and so we need to attach this circle to the hat like that. I don't know if you can see that. The circle to the hat. So I am going to put glue, and I use glue called Art Glitter Glue, and it dries clear so that all this stuff later, even though it's white here, you won't see it. So there we've attached our circle to our hat. Now we can go back to our head and attach our head to our body. And this is what we left this space here for, was so that we could attach our head here. Let's get a couple of clips here and let that sit. Okay, now we need to make our diploma. So I just got a piece of, this isn't cardstock, this is just computer paper. And I'm going to just roll it. And I'm going to roll it as tight as I can. And I am going to glue it here in the center, just to keep it nice and tidy. I'm going to take a little bit of baker's twine and wrap it around it, and then tie a knot. Okay. And clip that off. And then this, I'm going to stick in his wing just like this, so it looks like he's carrying his diploma. Now if you didn't want a graduation owl and all you wanted was an owl, this is where you stop and you just put your centers in and fill it with your Hershey Kisses. But I'm making these for a graduation owl, or as a graduation owl. So I'm going to let that sit for a second. Now what we do with our eyes is we put a big gold glue dot on the backs of them, and we stick it on the bottom of our Hershey Kiss, and then we stick our kiss in there. Now we can stick our inserts back in. When you stick your inserts in, you see you have the wider part goes towards the center of your hexagon. See that here? So that's how you stick your inserts in on this one. Okay, now just to finish him off and make him look like a graduate, I'm going to take and make a little front for him, kind of a bib. And this is just and I'm just going to glue this together onto this oval. And the oval is going to get put right here. And then I can take my tweezers and stick it through that hole that I left underneath the eyes, so that sticks that down. Okay, now I want to make sure that the back of the circle that I put together, the seam of the circle is towards the back of his head. So we're going to put glue on here. And stick this down on his head. Take these off. Okay. Now the last thing we need to do, actually second last thing, we need to put our little gem in the middle of our graduation hat. And then you turn it backwards and we can fill our Hershey Kisses. And I found that if you put the pointy end of the kiss in first, it seems to load better. You see, these they're in there so snugly that you don't need to glue them in, they just stay in. And then all we need have left to do is give them a beak. And I just kind of make a little triangle. Put a little glue right here between his eyes. And glue the triangle on. And there we have our little graduation owl. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a good time with today's project. I'll have a direct link to today's project over on my blog, and the link will be down below in the description box. While you're over at my blog, be sure to sign up for my newsletter. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you, and bye.